welcome to From the South. I'm Laura Prada from the Telesur studios in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. And we start in Mexico, where increased the number to 85, the number of deceased because of the tragic explosion of the Tuxpan-Tula duct, as informed by President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. This Sunday evening at a press conference, the Mexican president, accompanied by other government authorities, updated the number of dead and said that other 66 people continue severely injured due to the explosion of an illegal takeover of a fuel duct of the state-owned Pemex in Tuxpan-Tula in the municipality of Tlahuelilpan. And the Mexican army was immediately deployed to the area and said that the leak was caused by vandalism. Authorities say the situation is under control and there is no risk of another explosion. Families of the missing are still searching for their loved ones. According to locals, there were over 300 people at the time of the blast.
The figures don't match up. There are a lot of people here. There should be 300 people here, and 100 people are missing. About another 100 are in hospital. Where the gas line was, they started digging and they removed 5 corpses. But we want them to check the whole area around the perimeter, because there are a lot of people buried there who supposedly suffocated in the fire. They checked the land and there were people inside.
For 24 hours, since yesterday, we have been looking for him, but we don't have any news and nothing at the hospital. Well, now we are worried about him, and the whole family is concerned.
Now we go to Chile, where at least 2 people died after a 6.7 magnitude earthquake hit the coast of Coquimbo, north-central of the country, on Saturday evening. The quake shook homes, caused landslides, and led authorities to evacuate the area. Risk of a tsunami were dismissed. The quake has left over 200,000 people without power. Chile is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is prone to deadly quakes.
It was a chaotic experience with a lot of panic. There was a very loud noise during the earthquake, and we were there with the children.
Everything is good inside. Inside it's good. Just what it's in here. Nothing else, but with the volume that fell, that is what makes the situation scary.
Thousands of Colombians have protested against violence and terrorism following the car bomb explosion that killed 21 people in Bogota. President Iván Duque joined the demonstration along with several government authorities. The protest, called March for Our Heroes, took place across Colombia. Demonstrators condemned the attack on a police academy last Thursday, which also left 68 injured. The Colombian government has blamed the Colombia's National Liberation Army, the ELN, for the bombing.
I am showing my children, my family, that we are mostly good, that these events cannot be repeated, neither in Colombia nor in any other part of the world. Only with education, with love, with family, with peace, this world can go forward. There are more of us good ones. Terrorists, no more, no more. You also have family, you have dreams, you have hopes. Among all of us, we can change if we work together for a better country.
Time for a first break here from the South. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Telesur English and my personal account at Laura P. Telesur. Stay with us.
heard them saying, build that wall, you know. This is indigenous lands. You know, we're not supposed to have walls here. We never had walls. We never had a prison. You know, we always took care of our elders. We took care of our children. We always provided for them. You know, we taught them right from wrong. I wish I could see that energy of that young mass, young men, to, you know, put that energy into, you know, making this country really, really great.
With developing events being presented through analysis. Our coverage transcends borders. With renowned journalist Walter Martinez.
Salud amigos, tripulantes de nuestra querida, contaminada y única nave espacial.
Dossier. Weekdays. Only on Telesur.
Y ponga usted las cámaras, señor director.
The ruling world order has always subjugated the masses. But who are the actors behind every move? What are their real interests? We analyze every move on Critical Move. Weekdays, only on Telesur.
Back. A massive nationwide power outage has hit Panama just 3 days before the arrival of Pope Francis. The Panamanian electric company FtS said an incident in the electric power transmission caused the outage. Emergency services in Panama had to rescue people trapped in public transport. Water supplies were also affected. The outage has also affected several regions of Nicaragua and Costa Rica. And in Bolivia, a series of bus accidents left at least 35 people dead in the country over the weekend. In one incident, all 30 passengers escaped when a local bus in the department of Santa Cruz was devoured by fire when one of its rear tires exploded. Further south, 13 people were killed when a bus fell 100 meters down an embankment on the Tarija-Potosí highway. Police are investigating but say initial assessments are considering damage to the brakes. The accident that claimed the most life occurred on Saturday morning when two buses collided on a winding road in the Bolivian Altiplano, killing 22 and injuring 37, according to authorities. Such bus accidents have become increasingly common in Bolivia. An indigenous leader has been killed in the Mexican state of Chiapas. People marched to protest the murder of Noe Jimenez Pablo, leader of a campesino regional movement. Jimenez's body was found in a garbage dump together with the body of an unidentified person, both signs of torture. And members of the second migrant caravan have received Mexican visitor cards for humanitarian reasons. These passes will allow them to stay in Mexico for 1 year and have access to health care and basic education. Migrants received those humanitarian visas after crossing the border with Guatemala, according to the Migration Institute spokesperson. This new Mexican migratory policy recognizes the relevance of Mexican relationship with Central American countries. And the U.S. President Donald Trump has criticized top Democrat Nancy Pelosi a day after she dismissed him on a no started following his order about migrants. On social media, Trump said she has become a radical Democrat and behaves irrationally on Saturday. Trump announced he will offer 3-year protection for Dreamers or young people brought to the United States illegally as children, and would consider a 3-year extension of individual holding temporary protected status in exchange for the $5.7 billion for his U.S.-Mexico project for the border wall. And in Jamaica, the Ugandan musician turned politician Bobby Wine is in that Caribbean island to perform at the 26th staging of the annual Rebel Salute Reggae Festival. Wine said that reggae has inspired him to fight injustice in his own country. While on stage, he took the opportunity to praise his fellow countrymen for being beautiful, enterprising people. He added that there are still 40 million people living under oppression, domination, and under dictatorship. Wine was detained and allegedly tortured during last year's elections in Uganda. Now let's take a second break. More news when we are back.
The Pakistani journalist Tariq Ali examines the mass media influence promoted by imperialism. Get access to the analysis of the socio-economic and political life of the whole South America on our screen and platform in English. A critical place committed to the truth to determine the major events that transform the world today. Mondays, only on Telesur. In a world infested by inequalities, abuse of power, and injustice, the American journalist Abby Martin covers the struggle for fundamental rights worldwide, deepening into the search of files which uncover the empire's strategies through our screen and web platform in English. The Empire Files with Abby Martin. Tuesday, only on Telesur.
Welcome back. We start United Kingdom, where 2 men have been arrested early following a car bomb attack in the Irish city of Derry. Police have been looking for whether the new IRA militant group was responsible. The men were detained hours after the explosion on January 19th outside the city's courthouse. Saturday's blast came at a time when police in both Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland have been warning of the consequences of a return to hard border between the two countries. Northern Ireland will leave the European Union after Brexit, whilst the Republic is a member state. A border complete with customs and other checks could become a target for militant groups. And thousands of Syrians have marched through the streets of the city of Kimishli, protesting against the creation of a security zone in northern Syria. The demonstrators waved flags and protesters condemning the actions proposed by the Turkish government on January 14th. The security zone establishes 30 kilometers of security along the Turkish-Syrian border with the aim of facing the Kurdish militia in Syria. Reports suggest the idea was mooted by the President of the United States, Donald Trump. A Syrian spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs denounced the move as a violation of the territory. And around 170 migrants are missing in the Mediterranean Sea in 2 separate incidents this month. Migrants are feared dead after a dinghy sank off Libya and another boat capsized in Morocco. That's according to non-governmental organization Caminando Fronteras. Following the news, Italy's Interior Minister Matteo Salvini, who closed Italian port to humanitarian boats, said they will remain closed to deter the human traffickers.
Now perhaps professors, intellectuals, associations, a cardinal, 6,000 broadcasters will say that we must open the ports, hug migrants and welcome migrants. No, no and no, because the latest shipwreck is proof that if you reopen ports, if you allow everyone to wander in the Mediterranean Sea regardless the laws of our countries, more people will die. Then I say no, no and no. I repeat, open hearts for those who really flee from war, but close ports for NGOs, human traffickers and everyone else.
And the Arab Summit for Economic and Social Development kicked off in Lebanon on Friday, but without Syria, despite the fact that the Arab countries are looking to resume relations with the Syrian government in Damascus. Let's hear why.
In the Syrian parliament, a delegation from Jordan, just like numerous Arab delegations before them, has shown great interest in improving relations with Syria. They have offered to invest in its tattered economy and rebuild the war-torn country.
I came to deliver an official message from our government, from our leaders, His Majesty King Abdullah, and His Excellency President Bashar al-Assad. They wish all the good things for Syria, and we are willing to cooperate with the country, so it can return to the way it was before and even stronger. We hope it will soon recover to its former glory.
The reopening of the Naseb border crossing has benefited Jordan more than Syria. It has also positively impacted Lebanon, which is likely to help restore relations between Arab nations and Syria. Jordan has already sent several delegations. Syrians, unions, and the Arab public at large have criticized the Arab League's decision not to invite Syria.
They were wrong not to take the reality of the situation in Syria into consideration and invite the country to participate in the summit. It's an event that mainly focuses on the reconstruction of Syria, so if Syria doesn't participate, then it surely won't be a success.
The summit mainly revolves around rebuilding Syria, yet a Syrian delegation is absent. However, the Syrian government insists it's willing to cooperate with all the Arabs and is ready to discuss their position towards Damascus.
Now to Iran, where dozens of women protested outside the Swiss mission in Tehran following the arrest of Press TV host Marzi Hashemi in the United States. Iranian demonstrators gathered in front of the Swiss embassy in Tehran, which represents the United States' interest in the Islamic Republic. They condemned the detention of the news anchor Marzi Hashemi in Washington, D.C. The journalist was arrested by the FBI at the St. Louis airport in the state of Missouri on January 13th, while on a family visit, and was kept in jail without charges. Protesters demanded her immediate release.
Despite the U.S. government had not said what were the charges of Marcia Hashemi, she was arrested for being Muslims and wearing a hijab.
Now to Madagascar, where the Andry Rajoelina has been sworn in as new president after a controversial election ridden with allegations of fraud. Earlier in January, the Constitutional Court confirmed his victory in the second round of presidential elections with over 55% of the votes. His rival, Mark Ravalomanana, said the election was fraudulent, but the court dismissed allegations. Prior to his election as president, Rajoelina headed the country's interim government from 2009 to 2013. And militants have attacked the United Nations military base in Mali, at which Blue Helmet forces were present. Al-Qaeda claimed responsibility for the attack on the United Nations base in Agelkok in the north of the country. At least 10 Blue Helmet soldiers died in the attack and another 25 were injured. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the attack and said it could be punished under international law. There has been a conflict in Mali between government and forces and armed groups since 2012. It was exacerbated by the coup against President Muammar Gaddafi in Libya and became more complicated with French intervention. Meanwhile, the Democratic Republic of Congo's Constitutional Court has declared opposition leader Félix Tshisekedi winner of the presidential elections. The court ruled against the appeal made by runner-up candidate Martin Fayulu, who asked for a recount of votes of December's elections. The court said Tshisekedi won by a simple majority, allowing him to take over from long-lasting President Joseph Kabila. Fayulu has called on people to protest the verdict.
The Constitutional Court confirmed one more time that it serves the dictatorial person as the Independent National Electoral Commission. I urgently call our people to take care of themselves by organizing peaceful demonstration in the whole national territory to preserve its sovereignty, according to the 64th article of our Constitution.
And just from the Democratic Republic of Congo, our correspondent Oscar Epelde updates us.
The Constitutional Court has overruled the appeal of opposition candidate Martin Fayulu, who alleged fraud in December's presidential elections. Fayulu wanted a recount of votes, but judges found legal grounds to carry it out, even though some electoral observers from the Catholic Church presented ballots they believed to be fraudulent and argued that Martin Fayulu won the presidential race. New elected president Félix Tshisekedi said on Sunday that the court's decision to reject claims on electoral fraud and declare him president was a victory for the entire country. He also slammed foreign interference during the electoral process, saying it's part of an imperialistic attack. But Fayulu has claimed to be the country's only legitimate president and has called the Congolese people to peacefully protest against what he calls a constitutional coup. This poses a risk of keeping the political crisis alive. The Southern African Development Community called upon all Congolese to accept the outcome and consolidate democracy and maintain a peaceful and stable environment following the landmark elections.
Thank you, Oscar. Now let's look at other stories from around the world.
Greek protesters against the name change deal with Macedonia have clashed with police in Athens, who fired tear gas outside the parliament. Around 60,000 Greeks participated in the protests to oppose the deal, as they consider Macedonia to be part of their homeland and history. Hundreds of women have taken part in yellow vest protests in the French capital Paris to condemn police violence aimed at women in previous yellow vest protests. The women were seen wearing red hats, symbolic of the French Revolution. Yellow vest protests are now in their 10th week.
The Interior Minister gives orders to do what? To shoot women down with bullets that kill. That can kill. He says they don't kill, but they do. I saw it at the National Assembly. They had holes in their faces. Do you think that's normal? And that other minister who says we have black vests behind our yellow vests, what is he referring to?
Journalists in Libya have rallied in solidarity to denounce the killing of Tripoli-based journalist Mohammed bin Khalifa, who died covering clashes between rival militias. Demonstrations took place in Tripoli and Benghazi. Reporters taped their mouths while holding pictures of bin Khalifa. At Benghazi, journalists issued a statement saying, "We condemn the latest violations committed by armed militias who try to intimidate and repress journalists."
Like this, we've come to the end of this Youth Brief, but you can visit our website, telesurenglish.net, where you can find more news, read our opinion articles, or find our specials interviews. Continue with Telesur, connecting the Global South. Until next time, thank you for watching.
Enjoy our program.